The next step for our box assembly is for our Automata box is to create the box assembly. And for that, we're going to start out with the box bottom and then add in the other pieces as components. And that's something we haven't done before today. So first of all, we need to be in a empty part that doesn't have any components in it. So I want to close the box back, and I'm going to uh, insert these other parts in. Now, if I start out with insert into current design, it's going to give an error. It says, please save this design before inserting components. So that's very important. Fusion makes sure that we have a saved part before we add any components to it. So now I've got my box assembly. I can right click on box bottom, insert into current design. And there's the first part. I'll just click OK because I like that orientation of it. Now I can move it, but I don't really want the bottom of the box to be movable. So I'm just going to ground it. We'll go to box bottom over here on the browser, right click ground. It puts a red pin to show that this part is unable to move. And if I try to, it's right there. So I've got my box bottom. The next thing I need to do is to add the side for the left. Then I'll add the back, the right side, and the top. So here's my box side. Right click, insert into current design. And I could just start with it right here, but I think it's a little easier if we put this part a little closer to where it actually belongs. So you can use the arrows, the dot in the middle, and the circles to rotate or reorient this. So I'm going to rotate this 90 degrees. It doesn't matter if I do exactly 90 because the next step will fix that if I don't. And then I'm going to move it over here. I want to make sure that I can still see the bottom and the top of this, because those are the two things that I'm going to be gluing together or creating a rigid joint. So here's joint. I'll click on joint, and then notice the bottom went gray because the bottom can't move. Any part that is able to move will still be in color. So I'm going to pick component 1, the part that can move, and then I'll pick component 2, the part that can't move, and it will join them with a rigid joint. And so first, uh, notice that as I move on to that's going to be the surface that I'm going to be having touch another one. So if I clicked here, it would have this side touch something. If I click over here, it would have the end of it touch, but I want the bottom. So I'm going to rotate my part around, and I want to pick this point right here, and I want to make sure that it shows that it's going to be flat to that surface. So I'll come over till I get close, click right there. Now instantly it turns gray to say that part can't move. I'll rotate around so I can see the top of my part and make sure that I'm on the top of the bottom piece and move over until it selects like that. It moves the side over and they both shake together to say that they're stuck together. I don't want to change any of the offsets because I want that to be exactly even on the edge, so click OK. And then if I go back to my ISO view, you can see that the side is stuck to the bottom. If I click on the side, I can't. So the next step is to add in the back, and then I'll add in the right side and then the top. So here's my back. I'll insert into current design. There it goes. And again, I think it's easiest if we rotate this up. So we'll rotate this direction 90 degrees about, and then we'll move it back. For this one, the two parts that I want to touch, I want this corner to touch this corner right here. So I'm going to rotate it around so I can see the edge of that, and then I'll rotate back so I can see this one. So here's joint. I'll rotate around so I can see and make sure that I'm flat on this surface. And until it snaps to that corner, I can see it's blue on that corner. It turns gray right away, and then I'll rotate it around and bring to this spot, and it'll move them over, show that they're rigid, and then I'll click OK. I've got the back joined to the side and the bottom. And now I'll do the same thing and add in the right side. So box side, insert into current design. Again, I'm going to rotate this 90 degrees and then kind of position it over in this area. And for this one, I'm going to do the same thing I did with the first one. I'm going to make this point touch this point over here. Make sure I'm going in from the bottom and then rotate it so I can get to this corner. Click OK. And I've got both sides on. And the last step is going to be to add the box top. So right click on box top, insert into current design. And for this one, I'm going to click on the arrow and just drag it all the way up. Click OK. And now I need to choose a part of the bottom of the box to touch somewhere on the top. So joint, and I'm just going to pick this point right here, make sure it's flat on that surface. Rotate it around and make sure I'm flat on the top surface, get to the corner. And if I click OK, I have my assembly. I'll save that. And I've finished the first two parts. I made the 4 parts that go into the box, and I create an assembly. The last step is to create the drawing of the part.